Welcome everybody to the Department of Art and Design at Tennessee State University. Courtney Johnson, I'm the gallery director here at TSU in the art department. We're really excited today to bring you another art talk with Art Sims. Yay! So I'm going to read a little bit about him. I'm so excited for me and for all of y'all for hopefully what we're going to learn today, for what we're going to learn. So Art Sims is a graphic designer and art director, well known for his poster designs for classic films, including Do the Right Thing and The Color Purple. He's the CEO and co-founder of, is it 1124?
It's 1124 Design.
1124 Design, advertising in Los Angeles. Throughout his career, Sims has committed to promoting and making visible African American design and art and culture. Over the past decade, 1124 Design has crafted award-winning campaigns for award-winning projects ranging from George Lucas's Red Tails to Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, Jungle Fever, Mo Better Blues, Love and Basketball, The Clockers, and we could go on and on. The corporate branding images for TV networks such as STARZ Network, A&E, HBO, Lifetime, Netflix, and the Uplifting Channel. So I think we're in for some really great education and learning on this awesome career. So I'm going to turn it over to Art Sims now.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to speak to Tennessee State University. This is the first time that I've spoken to an HBCU university. I hope there'll be many more in the future. It's important, because I'm here in Los Angeles and we don't have a lot of African Americans we get some, but compared to other advertising agencies there's over thousands of them. Out of those, maybe we have 4 that are with people of color, maybe 5. And that's kind of depressing. My goal has been is to help change that. And by giving you the great students that are here at Tennessee State University some help, I'll tell you about myself, but also too, I'm here to answer questions because it's important that you learn from what I'm saying and try to do what I say. And the world's not going to, as you can see where the world is now, it's not going to change anytime soon, but you can change. You can never give up. You're going to get no's 1,000 times, but one time you're going to get that yes. And that's the key to it. Never, and always staying creative. I've always said to stay in the air. So anyway, to kind of give you a breakdown on myself, I'm from and born in Detroit, Michigan. I went to a wonderful school called Cass Tech High School, which was like one of the top high schools in Detroit, Michigan for creative talents. And here again, I got into the arts because my mom was a wonderful teacher and she thought that I was very good creatively. And so I started to win awards when I was in elementary school. And from there on, she said, look, you should try and, pursue a career in the creative direction. My dad was a doctor, but he didn't want me to be a doctor. So I found a niche being in a creative area. I started out really as an artist. I started out doing pencil, drawings and pen and ink drawings, and from there I grew into other areas. So after going to Michigan, after going to Cass Tech, I got a scholarship from there to Michigan State University in East Lansing, and they gave me a 4-year scholarship there. And there I started to function more. I was painting, I was doing photo etchings, I was doing lots of different things, but a lot of my work was very African American oriented. I was using images of the Black Panthers. I was using images of celebrities like Sly and the Family Stone back in the day. And so what happened at Michigan State University was one of the professors, Joseph Kujai, referred me, to a position to go to New York and try and get a job because I loved graphics, I loved music. So I went to CBS Records in New York City. I had I had an amazing meeting. And here's the point I was telling you about never giving up. I had no money. I went to New York for one day. I went to my first meeting was at CBS with a Chinese gentleman named Ed Lee. And then I met with RCA and another company after that, Polygram. And then after my day was ended in about 5 days, Ed told me after my first meeting to call him back. I remember it was raining. We didn't have cell phones then, so I was on a phone. And I said, Ed, you told me to call you before I go back to Detroit. And he said, no, man, I got some good news for you. I love your work. I love what you do. I want to hire you to come work at CBS. I mean, it was like out of nowhere. It was just, I never forget, it was just an amazing event. So at that point, I went and I started working in the summertime at CBS Records. And the beauty, how people will embrace you. When I got to CBS, I was at Black Rock, and he told me, he said, come with me, Art. I said, you said, I'm not going to start in the production area where I'm doing paste up and things like that. And he said, no, I'm going to teach you to be an art director, as a graphic designer. So he moved me up with him, and I worked in his office every day. And he had great projects at that time. I was working on The Sound of Philadelphia. I was working on Teddy Pendergrass, the Isley Brothers, and he was teaching me how to design creatively with text and font and the layout and composition of it. And he taught me step by step. This is how you do it, Art. You have an image, you kind of look at it, and you decide if, from a font standpoint, if this font will work with this, and here's a design direction. He taught me how to, back in the day, now we got Photoshop and Illustrator. So all you do is get your fonts and you just type them in. But then I had to actually do the equations on how the fonts would, 9 over 10 over 9 and a flush left. I had to figure it all out before I went to the typography place, and they had to type it up and submit it to me. So it was a big challenge. And so I remember another thing I was going to tell you about. I remember when I was in Michigan State before I went to CBS, and I remember one of the professors told me, said, you're never going to be successful, right? You're never going to be a good graphic designer. You should give up and quit. And she was a white lady. And so it was so funny because when I was at CBS, when I finished, here's the sad part about it. They wanted me to stay in New York City. They love my work, Ed Lee. And he said, look, Art, we like you to stay here, and, you could finish it. But I got scared, man. I was young, man. I was like 17 or 16. So I was like, I didn't know what to do. So I said, look, I'm just going to go back to state. Hindsight being 2020, when somebody offers you a great opportunity in graphics, and you see the opportunity for you to get a lot of exposure, take it. Don't turn it away. Try it and see how it works, because you never know. From that, by working with name brands like a CBS, it can grow you into so many different areas. So that's one thought. And then, so I went back to Michigan State. I was a junior then, so I had one more year at the university. I graduated. And when I graduated, I got an honors degree. And then I went back to Detroit, and I told my mom, I said, I think I might want to go to Los Angeles. I heard a lot of good things about it. And so I remember people told me back in the 70s, they were telling me, you don't want to go to LA, you want to go to New York first, and then you can retire in LA. But that's not that's not what I wanted to do. But when I got to Los Angeles and I saw the palm trees and the weather was so beautiful, I said, I'm not going back. And so I made the transition from Detroit. I drove out here in my car, and I started to meet executives here in the world of, but I was still loving music. So the beauty of Ed Lee, he lives in New York, and he believed in me so much that when I was doing interviews, I did an interview for a job position at Capitol Records. And he flew out to Los Angeles to meet with a Japanese gentleman named Roy Kohara. And he told him, he said, Art was an incredible designer for me at CBS. You should hire him to work for you at Capitol Records. And I got hired. I never forget that. And I didn't even ask Ed to come out. He did it. He did it because he wanted me to be successful. Oh, this is so funny how when you don't think people really believe in you, there is somebody out there that does believe in you, just in spite of what other people say. So I got hired at Capitol Records. Did a lot of wonderful things there. My work is in a book called 1,000 Album Covers. I got a few, my name is in that book, and I have a few different images in there. You can find it probably on Amazon. And so after I did very well there at Capitol Records. I got nominated for a Grammy. I never got the Grammy, but I was nominated once for a movie, for an album cover I did called Bob Welch French Kiss. And then I started to, one of my theories was, if I'm going to grow my business, I wanted to meet different executives, but I wanted to meet people that were powerful and that knew their brands. So I started meeting celebrities like Quincy Jones and Stevie Wonder. It went on and on from there. The Gap Band, there was a number of different people I got involved with. And so then I formed my company, 1124 Design, and in Los Angeles. And I took one more job after that. I got hired to work at CBS Television here. It's a big building over on Beverly Boulevard. And so, make a long story short, I worked there for about a year. I told them, I said, I don't think I'm going to be here that long because I'm starting my company. And so I won some awards over there, working on some print campaigns for CBS Television for TV shows. And then I formed 1124 Design, and we set up shop on Melrose Avenue. It's a popular street. And then I got out of music, was starting to fall away, and the money was not that good. So I made a decision to try to get into films and work on key art campaigns for films. So I met a wonderful executive at Warner Brothers Pictures named Joel Wayne. And Joel saw my ability to be creative, and he hired me to work on the film The Color Purple. And I knew Quincy at the time. I knew Clarence Avant. I had worked for him, Clarence Avant, for Taboo Records. There's a movie about him called The Black Godfather on Netflix. But anyway, so to make a long story short, I got the opportunity to work on these other big projects. And then I worked on The Color Purple. It was very successful. And then that's when I started to see, I saw Spike Lee. He did a project called She's Gotta Have It. And so I reached out to a wonderful producer, Laretha Jones, and Laretha introduced me to Spike. And I met him at the really famous hotel called the Chateau Marmont in Hollywood. And me and Spike met, and we fell in love with each other. He loved my work, and he said, "You're gonna work for me." And then I started from there on working with Spike. And then I started, my first project for Spike was School Days. And that was a beautiful film. And I did that for Columbia Pictures. And Spike, a lot of people don't know, but Spike was a very, he's kind of toned down now, but when he was young and back in the, he was very aggressive. He was very hands-on about the marketing. I mean, a lot of filmmakers don't take control of their films and the marketing of their films. Spike was very strong about that. And he told Columbia what he wanted things to look like and what they were not to look like. I remember when I worked on School Days, there was a color comp that I did that I showed Spike, and it was kind of, he looked kind of buffoonish. And I told Spike, I said, Spike, you know, they want me, the executive here likes this image, and they said they want to use it, and they don't care if you like it or not. And that woman got fired the next day from coming. I was like in shock. I saw her packing her drawer, and she was leaving. And I was like, what happened? He said, you told me, man, nobody tells me what my marketing is going to be like. And I talked to the president, and I told him to get rid of her. So Spike was very aggressive at the time. And then from there on, after school days, I did, you know, Do the Right Thing, which I think is one of the best key arts I've ever designed. And I just think that's one of Spike's best movies ever. And so when I read the script, I was, you know, there was a lot of images. When I start working on a film, I read the script. And once I read the script, I do little small sketches about maybe 1 inch by 1 inch in the spine of the script. And then I do maybe over 200 of them. And then I select the best ones out of those little sketches, and we do them in drawings. And I have my illustrator in my office, and we illustrate them. And then from there, we go into the way it's going to look. So, and then after Do the Right Thing, I did, you know, all the Spike's projects. I did Clockers, Girl 6, More Better Blues. Malcolm X, I saw a gazillion times. I remember Spike said, you're going to watch this movie till we find the right image. And we couldn't even remember. Denzel came by my house, and I said, we don't know. Warner Bros. Is telling me, do we do the old Malcolm? Do we do the young Malcolm, or we do the angry Malcolm? And then Denzel said, man, I think we should just stay with the idea that Spike came up with, which was the X on the black cat. And I told Spike, I said, Spike, next time you do an idea like this, you should draw it and copyright it, because what you did is you just took the font Steiny and you just use it as a logo. And a lot of people can copy that. You can't copyright a font, but you could have manipulated it. Anyway, it didn't matter. The campaign became very successful, and then I ended up doing Malcolm X, the silver X on the black background. And we won a lot of awards on it, on other films as well. Let's see. Let's see, what I could do is I could show you some of the work that I've done going forward. I did, just to mention more of that, I did New Jack City. What else? I did the Minister Society with the Hughes brothers. I did George Lucas. I worked on his recent last film he ever directed, called Red Tails. I worked on Michael Jackson project that Spike did. I did another movie called Red Hook Summer. And then from there on, going forward, I'm going to show you this. We worked on Black Panther, the first one. I'll show you my directions on that as well. I just got through working on Space Jam, the new legacy with LeBron James. We have a new project that's coming out that we worked on called King Richard, where Will Smith plays the father of Richard Williams, the father of Venus and Serena. It'll be out in November of this year. And then we're currently working on a project right now for Apple. We're working on the new Will Smith film called Emancipation. So anyway, what I could like to do is can I show them some of my work? Can I share it?
Yeah, that would be great. Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, let me share. Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Okay, where are they? Just one second. Trying to find it. Where is it? Let's see if I have it. Well, that's not it. Hold on. I want to make sure you guys can see it. Just one second. Just one second, class. Hold on. Why is it not showing up? Oh, okay. Can you guys see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. All right, then. So, what I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so this is Black Panther. When I read Black Panther, Disney brought me on board. What happened, is I read the script, and I was told to come up with some ideas and sketches on Black Panther. But here's the key: they wanted me to, your clients, they wanted me to like not show Chapman's face. They wanted to show him covered. So I did these images, and these are like different pencil sketches that we did of Panther by reading the script. And these ideas came from reading the script and coming up with directions. So you use most of the time when you're working designing a movie poster, you'll come up with sketch ideas, whether you can sketch them or you have somebody else sketch it. The sketches were done pretty small. They were actually done like 4x5, and then I blew them up. But these are different looks that we started out when I was doing Black Panther. I was trying to make him look like a king, but more aggressive. And so this is kind of just the beginning. And this is the process I do on all my films. We always do pencil sketches if it's available. I mean, on large budget films, we usually do pencils. If not, we work what they call unit photography, which means the studio usually has a photographer that takes different shots while they're making the film. And while they're making the film, I take those shots and then I'm given those and I build my key art. The key art size I work with is on my presentations is 9 inches wide by 13¼ inch deep. And that fits a 11/17. And then we make them into a PDF or they're printed out and we send them to the client. So this was the sketches we did. And then after this, we go from those drawings we go to these here. This is the actual color comps. So what happened is after the sketches are done, they hire a special photographer and he photographed the Black Panther doing these kind of moves that you see on this page 1. But the background, I had to recreate that through our Photoshop, all the creative people I have in my Photoshop team. And then we created these images, with the backgrounds, like that was from an explosion in the film, in the first part of the film when he was in a plane and he left the plane. So we try to recreate that. This one has some of the talent in the film. So you can see here, again, this image here of Panther we shot, but all this, the waterfall, the buildings, the fires, all the planes attacking. We also did a photo shoot of the other girls in the film, and then I placed them in here. Then we built the rock. The logo was done before me. Disney gave me the logo, so I just placed it in. That's the idea without it. Here's another idea. This shot was given to me from my sketches, and then we built the background. We built Wakanda in the background with the waterfall and everything. He's jumping out of the plane. Here he was in his kingdom, and there was an attack going on. So I was trying to make, I do different versions. Some have the background, some don't. So that, you give the client, I like to give the client like a different looks of an idea that I like. Again, here, this was, again, we were given this, I did a lot of work on this in Photoshop. We fixed the arms, we made him more, look more like a superhero. So a lot of the arms are redone and retouched in Photoshop. And then we built this Wakanda in the background. Here's another film, another image. Again, this is shot, they were giving me special shoots. Here I had the whole cast in the background with the waterfall, because as you know, when you saw the film, the waterfall was a key part of the film, and where a lot of the fights took place and a lot of the talent was. So that's why we went in this direction. I changed his body movements in this one. It's the same image, but just different image, different colorizations. Like I said, a lot of times you'll change the look and the colors so that it's more, gives the client, I try to give the client as many choices as possible. Again, I don't like to overdo it, and because the more work, more comps you do, the more you charge. But I was trying to get it. Here was just the head. These are just a teaser idea with the Panther. Different, same image, different colors. Different colors, same thing. Different colors, just a headshot. Oh, this one had all the talent in it. And that's basically what I did on Black Panther. What I'm going to show you now is I'm going to show you what I did on Space Jam. And so, if you saw the film or not, but Toon Squad was created in animation. So, and then Lebron became part of the animated series. So what we had to do here was we had to redraw all the characters like Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, and everybody had to be redrawn. And then we had to draw the actual Toon Squad on each of the players. So there were a couple steps in this. This guy here was a stand-in because LeBron, sometimes he wasn't available to do the special shoot. So we did this, and then once they approve it, then we go and we put in the real LeBron. These are just some other ideas with LeBron and some without LeBron. At this time, it was called Space Jam 2. The name of the film was changed to The New Legacy. But all of these, we had to recreate. We got the photo shoot of the talent, and then we just redrew the background and everything. Let's see. So here's I'll just go through it really quickly. I know you guys are busy. This was just another teaser. Here's LeBron again. So I tried to. I even though LeBron's known for doing the smoke effect. Let's see. There's LeBron. There's the talent here. And I was trying to, in the font, I was trying to keep it more cartoony looking. So it had like the drop shadow and it had the white, but I was trying to have the type kind of bounce a little bit so that it had a kind of a animation feel to it. I didn't want to use clean fonts like Bodoni or Helvetica or things like that. That will make it look boring. This is a special shoot of LeBron, and then we added in the characters. All these were done in Photoshop. So that's what this is the look I did on Lebron. This is the new film that's coming out on Will Smith. He plays Richard Williams. And so these were actually revisions because here's this is from the film Richard pushing that actually existed there was a photo of Richard pushing the girls in a shopping cart with the balls. So they just recreated it. What I was trying to do here was I was focusing on Will Smith as Richard Williams and the girls became secondary. The logotype they like this. I didn't design it, but they like it. So they told me to use it in my revisions. So I did that. Here's a bird's eye view of the tennis court and LeBron and the girls. I mean, not LeBron, but Will Smith. Excuse me. And I tried to, these are the ones that they like. So I did these as revisions. Let's see where I'm at now. Just to kind of give you a background on me a little bit. I'm the only advertising agency that has work that was placed into, and I had nothing to do with putting it into the permanent collection at the Smithsonian Institution, National Museum of African American History and Culture in DC. And they put in Do the Right Thing. So that was a big honor to have that done. Let's see. That's these are some other projects that I did for Netflix. These are called banners. Nowadays, as you can see, key art is starting to fall by the wayside. And now most of the images that are created are placed in digital formats on websites and your Facebook, Twitters, and Instagrams. So these were film images that we created and were placed into those formats for a review. So I wanted to give you kind of just a look of what the digital side looks like nowadays. Let's see. I had this was a film that I just worked on with Denzel Washington. Let's see, I'm actually going to show you. I showed you that one. Let me show you the original. This is a film called The Little Things that just came out. And so these are images that I read the script. In this particular film, Denzel wasn't in an action fighting mode. It was more of a detective story about a murderer who was raping women, and they couldn't find out who he was. So these are just different looks. Here I had to work with unit photography. There was no special shoot. So I had to recreate images using Denzel's image, and then I added in Los Angeles in the background. So, like I said before, it's a lot better to do a special shoot when you're working on ideas for a client. But if you're stuck with just using what images they have from the movie, then you have to build something around that. So here, and I was working with the typography and using Denzel and using Rami as well. So again, I read the script, and then that was a scene from the, I try to, when I'm working on images, I try to tell a little bit of the story in the image. I try to like find an image that basically tells the story with one picture or a couple of pictures. I try not, like, I mean, this is very graphic here. I mean, I don't like to do a lot of these blood splatter things, but I just covered it because I know clients like that. But I mean, that's pretty typical using a handprint. I did it because it was a crime scene. That was a scene where there was a hairpin that was involved with the woman that was murdered. So that's why we had the blood around the hairpin. That's Denzel looking for him. So these are just images. In my business, it's not so much based on if they like, it's morally based, it's a subjective image. A lot of times when I'm working on it, there's like 5 other ad agencies that do exactly the same thing as I do that come up with their own looks. And sometimes you have no control over that. So you can't, I mean, as much as I think this is a great image, I have no choice in whether it's get picked or not. I mean, a lot of times, to be quite, a lot of ad agencies do low budget movie posters for small budget films so they get printed. Because at the end of the day, you want your work to get printed. You try not to get it so that you're just doing color comps and they don't pick one, So that's another trick to it, is working on small budget films. If you come off on small budget films in Tennessee and you're working on projects from independent filmmakers, sometimes you could just say, look, I'll do this for you for like this amount of money. Like, can you, let me come up with some ideas. Because at the end of the day, you want them to select your finished image that you design. Let's see. I will show you. I wanted to show you. I did show you this. Here, let me go back to my team here. Okay, just one second. I want to go. See, I'm trying to go back to the. Screen. How do I get back to the main screen? Oh, okay. Just go back to resume. Let me go back to stop the share. And then I'm going to go show you a couple other things. Let me go back in and share some of the logotypes that I've done. Okay, here are some of the logotypes that I designed. I did Flight Time. I did that for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Mr. Society, I did that for the Hughes Brothers. More Better Blues, that was for Spike. Do the Right Thing, I designed Crooklyn, School Days, Clockers. This was from Mike Tyson before he got beat. Yeah, I remember Don King was going to give him a line of clothes called Mike Tyson, and they had approved this. And then Mike had that fight with Holyfield, and he bit his ear off, and that was the end of it. I did this for Quincy Jones. I did this for Stevie Wonder, Wonder Power Music. So that's just a few images there that I've done. Let me show you a couple other things before I switch over. I was trying, maybe I could probably show it through here. Hold on, let me stop. And then we come back, let me get back in. Can you see this?
No, not yet.
Hold on a second, hold on. Sorry, team. Okay, so here's some images that I've done in the past. And we do other things other than movie one. We do campaigns for Fortune 500 corporations. So I'm going to skip through these and get to the movie work. We did that for a game that came out for electronic sports called Saboteur. So we did the packaging on the video game. Those are digital format. I told you about banners that are you're gonna be learning and doing more Photoshop work with banners and verticals and horizontals, websites in the bottom. So we worked on Tarzan. I worked on a movie called Just Mercy that just came out for Warner Brothers with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. There was a couple other images for that film. We worked on another film called For the Photograph with Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield. It was a love story. At Black Panther, you saw that. We worked on Night School with Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish. We worked on another series that's on television that came out called Snowfall, about drug dealing in New York and Los Angeles and how it started. We worked on The Best Man Holiday. That was just a comedy. These are small independent films, Sister Code and Brotherly Love. We did Mike Tyson for HBO. This was the campaign we did for Michael Jackson for Bad. We did Red Tails for Lucas. We did a movie called When the Levees Broke for HBO about the hurricane. We did I Will Follow. We did for Ava DuVernay. We did, these are the ones we did, Green Girls, Sick of Laugh at Bees. We did a movie called Black Panther, Love and Basketball. I think you've seen it. Crooklyn, you saw that. We did Bamboozled, one of my favorite one sheets. I love it. I think it's a beautiful image. We did Jim Brown for HBO. He Got Game with Denzel. And you saw Clockers. We do smaller films, Love No Cost a Thing, and Mac. We did SOS for Spike. We got an award for that one. Malcolm X, you can see here, we did that for Spike. We got an award for that, and Jungle Fever. Menace to Society. The Huey P. Newton story, we did that for STARZ. The Best Man we did for Malcolm Lee and Universal Pictures. Woman Thou Art Loose. I mean, each one's different. You can see here, Mo Better Blues. The thing that's kind of unique about this is I told Spike, I said, let's put Do the Right Thing behind the poster. It's like it's part 2. And they loved it. So we put that in. New Jack City, I'm pretty sure you're aware of that one. Do the Right Thing. What I was trying to do on Do the Right Thing was the background was originally gray, and this the Do the Right Thing logo was drawn on the street, and I brought in the girl, and we had Spike and Danny, and then I cast these 2 other people here. But I thought Do the Right Thing was kind of a fantasy film. It wasn't about reality, so that's why I made the street blue. What else? I think that's the end of that. I stopped sharing that. Am I going too fast? I didn't hear you.
No, you're good. It's perfect.
Okay, hold on. What we are doing right now is some of my work's going to be offered as NFTs in the future. This is one of the images that will be used as a NFT. This was a image that was used, that was submitted for Malcolm X that never got used. So it'll be part of the NFT series. And so I just kind of want to let you know that we are going to be doing it. We are doing NFTs, and by November, we'll have NFTs up for people to buy and buy the images. Let's see here. I didn't see, I could show you also too. We did this is a comp that'll be sold as NFT that was the color purple that never got used. So that kind of shows you the different looks for that film. One thing about my company is we're working with, just kind of give you guys a little bit of background. My partner is on this call, George Simmons, and I'm part owner of another company, part of BingeNow.com, and we're in the process of working with another company called Tri-State Creative Design Group. So we're excited about working with them. And I'm also excited about working with you. Some of you students should show me or email me some of your work. I'd love to see your portfolios. I'd love to see your ideas and how you think. And I'd love to give you my opinions on your work and what we can do to make it better. Or if it's good enough, I'll tell you, it looks great, it looks fantastic. And the thing about it, you guys are at Tennessee State, so now you're at a position now where you're doing really great work. So, you know, I love for you to, I can share, the team at Tennessee State can share my email with you and my phone number, so you can call me directly. And, you know, I'm sorry I'm not there. I wanted to come, but it just became a Zoom call, so it's cool. But as you can see in the background in my office, I got thousands of books. And those books I use like when I'm coming up with really great ideas. And I look through the books and I do little sketches and I kind of think about, you know, how I'm going to approach something. But I think, well, you know, I don't know, nowadays everybody goes to Google to look for images and ideas, which is a great source, but I'm kind of a little old school. So I have books and I'm probably gonna, you know, I'm gonna eventually get rid of these books. So maybe I could donate them to the Tennessee State Library. So you have some of these books that I use to inspire me. And I'm trying to think about what else what other notes that you want me to explain. The movies that I've worked on, I think the total box office on those is about just over $1 billion. So I've brought a lot of success to the film studios as well as, but my ideas, and for you as a graphic designers, is to come up with a creative direction and an idea and a thought. My goal, my thing is, don't think about it as work. Think about it as, I'm going to execute this graphic as the very most creative way I think it would look best. Sometimes don't try to make the client happy by, oh, you know, they want two heads in the sky and they want a smaller version of the girl. She's crying. Don't do that. I mean, I'll give a client maybe one of those, but all the rest of the ideas, I come up with those original ideas. It could be as simple as like one image that has nothing to do, but it has a lot to do with telling them what the story or the concept is about. So, and a lot of times it doesn't have to be Photoshop. It could be illustrated. It can be, I mean, as you can look here, when I worked on, let's see, I'm going to go here real quickly, and I'm going to show you, let's see, when I worked on the color purple. And hold on one second. Okay, hold on one second. Like this image, hold on, you guys. Just want to just show something. This image was, I hired this wonderful artist. Her name is Elizabeth Catlett. And she's passed away, but she was a very famous African-American artist. So what I was trying to do was, on The Color Purple, I said, look, I want to feature some of the most famous Black artists that are existing in our world today, and maybe use their image that would promote the selling of this film. And so she drew a picture of Whoopi Goldberg with the letters. It was a beautiful film, but I couldn't get Warner Brothers to buy into the illustration of Whoopi, but I was kind of ahead of myself because I think it's a beautiful drawing. If you ever saw this in real life, you say, oh my God. So, but I think it's important that not everything has to be Photoshop. Not everything has to be, sometimes image can just be text with an image inside of the text. So I like you to keep your mind very expanded and very creative and thoughtful. That's why it's so good to look at images in Google or just go places and get inspired to get your thinking, your creative thinking inspired so that you can use those images going forward. So I stopped sharing that. So I think I'm trying to think, was there anything else I'm missing about myself? My staff, you know, I got like over 10 employees. We're coming back together because of the pandemic was holding us back, but now we're getting ready to get started again. But we have been working, and my goal is to continue to do really great award-winning, and not so much award-winning. Once you do great work, it's going to get awards anyway. So I don't try not to work around getting awards. Trying to think of anything else. Hey, George.
Would you mind if we ask a couple of questions that have been placed into the chat?
Sure.
We have time. Okay, that would be great. And thank you for this. This was amazing. I'm scrolling through the chat, but I'd love if you typed a question into the chat, if you want to unmute and
hold on. You need me to unmute?
So whoever wants to ask a question, if they can.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're gonna ask me directly.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to, Jonathan, I don't know if I know you, can you unmute, or did you want to ask your, there you go.
Yeah. So the question I asked was, what was the most important advice that you learned over your career, or that you received over your career?
I think the most important advice was to not overcharge financially. I think I'm a kind of a guy, you know, where when I started working with Spike and Lucas, I was charging big money, man. I was charging like over 150 grand for one sheet. And I think sometimes you can overcharge, and then clients say, well, you do really good work, man, but I can't afford you. And you can lose clients like that. So my suggestion was, you know, make sure you do your research. You can go on Google and you can type in what a good rate is for designing banners. I have a list of price lists I'll be glad to send to you. But I think you should, my number one point would be to don't overcharge. I mean, the gig is to get the opportunity to present your work, show the great work that you do, be fair about the number that you charge, but you want to get it printed. You want to see it, whether it's online or in paper. So I think that's my best fault, is don't overcharge. And, you know, be nice. I mean, clients, you want to develop relationships with them, say happy birthday. You know, go to if they have just had a baby, give them a congratulations gift or something. But all that could be done through social media and things like that. But be nice to your client. 'Cause relationships are more important than the actual work. Because when people like to work with you, they're going to call you anyway because they like you as an individual in your work. The work part is the second part of it. So I guess that's my other number 2 is to develop a relationship with your clients and people you're going to do business with and make it ongoing, make it long term. Don't remember, I used to go through a period where I would like say, oh man, this guy, they don't have any money. I don't want to work on the project. And then I got asked to do work for Bob Marley's wife came to me and asked me to design a logo for them. And I said, oh, you don't have any money? So I'm sorry. And I should have I think to myself, darn it, I should have taken that job because that's Bob Marley's wife. I mean, she was doing some projects. You can get a lot of exposure from that. So think about it before you overcharge and develop a relationship. Sometimes, even nowadays, I do some things for free. And because I want to develop a relationship and continue to get more business, whether with a corporation, even with the Fortune 500s, like your Procter and Gamble's and your General Motors and your Nikes and people like that. Give them an opportunity to see the kind of work that you do and the opportunity to, to develop, because nowadays everybody's having you sign in non-disclosures and everybody is doing checks on you now to make sure that you're not going to share their work. So develop a good relationship. That's my second point. Did I answer your question? Did I answer it?
Yes, you did. I appreciate it.
Okay, great.
Thank you. And we have a couple of other questions here, or actually several. I'll jump around a little bit. Eric, did you want to unmute and ask? I think you had a couple of questions.
Yes, I need to go back. I dropped
it okay.
Here, so I'm like, what did I say again?
Yeah, do you want me to read it?
One of the questions I put was, what's the story behind the name of your company, 1124, and of course, the story behind the actual logo design for the company as well.
1124, when I first came to LA, I never forget how much I love music, and I love Earth, Wind and Fire. And I love the album called That's the Way of the World. And it was so meaningful that when I got to LA, I wanted to find out where those guys were hanging out and how could I learn more of what they're singing about. And I found out they were going to a church in LA, Crenshaw Christian Center with Fred Price. So I started going to the church and I started getting tied up in becoming a Christian and developing my relationships in the Bible. So I remember Fred used to talk all the time about Mark 11:24. And the Bible says, whatever thing you desire when you pray, believe that you receive it and you will have it. So I wanted to come up with a name that had a meaning to me spiritually and so I named it after that Bible verse, 11:24, to do the design. And so it came from the Bible. I've been asked that question like millions of times, what the name of my company, why did I name it that? And God has blessed me very much. And I'm thankful to God for all the blessings he's given me in my life and my business. And, but in terms of the logo, well, the new logo I have is more squares. And it has 11:24, but the original logo was a photograph that was done by a great photographer, Don Miller. And he did an image of the sand and the sky. And I thought about using that I use that as my first original logo because, and I could show it to you if you want, but the purpose was my ideas come from God. So as the sky is infinite, it's no ending to the sky. And then the sand, the pieces of sand, there's billions and trillions and zillions of pieces of sand. So I thought about my logo being representing That's how many ideas that I have. As many pieces of sand there are on a beach or in the Sahara Desert, and the sky being so open and unbelievable in terms of the achievement you can achieve. That's why I picked that logo of the sand in the sky. I think let me see if I could find it. Hold on. Trying to see if I could find the actual, but the logo, I'm using a new logo now, and that new logo, the new logo is like different, it's a little more contemporary. Let's see, trying to see if I could find it. Just one second. If I can't, then you send me your email and I'll send it to you so you could see it. But anyway, I'll look for it and I'll send it to you. Hey.
Awesome. Thanks. I really appreciate that. I had also included another question real quickly. And that was, if there is one, who would you say was your most intimidating client to work with?
You mean I did not want to work with?
Or to say, I guess, with like the caliber of the project, you may have felt a little intimidated by it, or of course, with just the caliber of who that person or who that company was.
Let's see. I think, who was that client that made things? I have clients like that where I just had a client like that. I was working for a guy named Michael Harris, and he designs, he sells marijuana packaging. And so in his company, he has Dr. Dre and Snoop are promoting their pictures are on the packaging I did and design. And so since Dr. Dre was involved, remember the Chronic? Okay, the Chronic album cover. So I used that. I said, man, why don't we do something like the Chronic? That'd be a good way to start. And then he said, all right, give me some other ideas. I ended up doing like around 100 ideas, and he still didn't like them. And at the end of the day, he ended up picking the original idea we did that was kind of like the Chronic. It was like, so to answer your question, I think he might have been one of my most difficult ones. Spike was pretty easy. I think Spike was already creative. So Spike would tell me like, hey, Art, when we do clockers, maybe that could be kind of like, Russian constructivism. Maybe we could, why don't you try some ideas that have Russian constructivism? And then we started there, and then we started moving more toward Saul Bass. But Spike was easy to work with, in terms of he would allow me to be creative, but in terms of Mike Harris, I think he might be the most difficult, because I said, man, that's why I really try to hate when a client tells you, I don't know what I want. I'll let you know when I see it. Then I know that you're in for a long ride. So I think it's good sometimes to just tell a client, hey, do you have just a few ideas? I'm not going to copy them or at all, but just kind of give me a direction. And so that way I know, where I'm not just fishing out of the sky. But yeah, Michael Harris has to be the one I just recently worked. I thought that was one of the ones that was the most complicated.
I think I saw George's hand go up, or did you want to add something?
Yes, it's like Art mentioned earlier, he is one of the co-founders of our company called Binge Now Inc. And I just want to give some heads up to the art department that we're currently working with Tennessee State University. We had meetings with Dr. Glover, Dr. Curtis Johnson, Kelly Sharp, Joe Ritchie, And yesterday I talked with Karen Russell. I'm still reaching out to Dr. Tamika Winston. And the heads up is that I think that the art department should maybe talk with Joe Ritchie as a starting point to get engaged with this project. And what the project is going to do is basically 10 states will have their own Netflix, if you will, to be able to distribute and monetize content that's in news, sports, entertainment, education. You generate content every single day. And if you get back to Art's point, that this content is going to be accessible on websites, mobile devices, and on your TV. And there's a lot of branding assets that need to be developed. Like Art mentioned before, banners are important. And so I think important in terms of helping create the brand for what may be called 10-state Tiger World TV is something I think that the art department should need to get involved in. And there's going to be a cross-functional team to make this happen. It also is going to allow an opportunity for you to engage some of the consulting services of 1124 Design in helping develop your skill sets with real projects that are going to be generating new revenue streams for the university. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. That was wonderful. And I mean, honestly, you guys have been so generous with not just information, but just offering to be so accessible to the students. And I mean, we appreciate that, more than anything. And so I want to make sure I say that. But I appreciate that information and I will be sure to follow up. Maybe we might have time for just one more last question, just for the sake of time. I think I saw David raise his hand. All right, so we'll end with David and go from there. Thanks.
Hey, Art, nice to meet you and see you. And George, too, for coming on. I wanted to ask, Art, what is your advice for learning how to composite since you're working with Photoshop so much?
My advice is do as much Photoshop usage as you can. Because with Photoshop, you're working with layers and you're working with a lot of other opportunities, whether, like, for example, let me see here if I can, let's see if I can open up something really quickly that okay, so this is, let me see if I can open it. Hold on one second. Because I'll show you in Photoshop how it's so important that you take advantage of not just the layers, but also all the other elements that are tied to the layers. Hold on one second. I'm going to show you a movie one sheet. We just finished. Let's see. Okay, hold on. This is a high resolution image. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm trying to open it up. Just one second. Just one second. Hold on. I'm sorry for the delay.
You're fine. We are happy to wait.
Hold on. Where is it? Just one second. Oh, Just 1 second, boy. Hold on. Just 1 second. I'm trying to open the file. Because I want to answer your question, because in Photoshop, you have so many layers, and my recommendation is to continue to use Photoshop as much as you possibly can, because when you're developing layers and you're cutting masks and those kinds of things, I think the more that you use Photoshop and using layers and laying, doing different hues and saturations and those kinds of elements to make an image look better, I think that's my recommendation, is to just continue to use more Photoshop, because a lot of things on Photoshop, you can use on your own, but, to make it look better, I think, hold on,
So,
it's trying to, hold
so
on one
you
second.
mean like adding hue and saturation to the existing images, or like adding color on top of the images?
This file's gonna open up in 1 second. I'm gonna show you, but I said, hue and saturation is one thing, but there's different layer formats that will give that image a more enhanced look and a more cleaner look. I think, especially nowadays when Photoshop is being used so much in terms of the quality of the execution, that you have to use as many of those elements as possible to achieve the quality look at the end of the day. To be quite honest, clients that when you were working with big studios like Universal or Paramount or Procter and Gamble or Nike or any of those, they're very they look at the presentation of the execution of the Photoshop very closely. And so it's important that the more, I think a lot of it is more you creating and working with how to make, like, for example, here in this image, let me show you this image real quick. Hold on. Okay, so you can see this image here. Okay, now you go to it in layers. Can you see the layers?
It's not showing us the layers.
Oh, it's not showing you the layers? Okay, hold on. Let's see. Let me see how I can get you to see the layers. Well, it's not showing. Hold on a second. Hold on. How can I? Hold on. Let me see if I can show you the layers. Hold on. Oh, so it's not showing the layers. But anyway, for example, if you can look here at this Photoshop file, I have the tight treatment. That was all on one layer. Like, for example, if you look at the hue and saturation, let me go back down to the image. Like when you look at cat, there's different, like, hue saturation. There's hue saturation 4, there's levels, there's selective color, and those are done by mask. And you can see here, but even I'm working just on cat right here, and you could see there's many images. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, let me show you really quickly a screen grab. Just so I'll show you that I'm doing everything right. Hold on a second, because it's important. Let me see if I can, hold on. Just 1 second. Hold on. Hold on.
Are you a Macintosh guy or a PC?
Mac.
All right. How much RAM do you run?
I'm running, my RAM is, I use like 4 gigs of RAM. I use a lot of RAM because the more RAM you're using, the faster the computer goes. Hold on a second. Just over here. Hold on, you guys. I'm sorry for the delay. Like, okay. So you see this window here? Like that was on that Photoshop I just up for the love of money. If you look at this image, if you see that cat, that's like, do you see it?
Yeah.
There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 just on him alone. So I'm saying that the hue saturated, the levels, the selective color, all those things, the mask, all these things will help enhance the image so that it even looks more professional. Not so much looks professional, it just looks clean. And the execution of the Photoshop. So my recommendation is that if you like, I could send you some layered files and send me your email. I'll send you a link so you can see how I do it.
Okay.
And that way you can understand the execution. So if you send me your email from the team, my email is artsims@1124design.com, artsims@1124design.com. If you send me your email, then I'll send you a link through WeTransfer, and then you could download the link and you could see how I work with files. So that way you'll get a better understanding of what you're gonna need to do when you're working with Photoshop.
That will work.
So send me your email and I'll send it to you.
Oh, thank you so much for your generosity with information. I mean, this was
no doubt.
Incredibly informative and inspiring for those of us who teach, for those of us who are students. I think everyone, in the audience has probably learned something. So I really do appreciate that in your time.
Yeah, if there's some other questions that come in that can't be answered on this Zoom, then I'll be glad to do another Zoom.
Oh,
or if you want, you can get the questions and you can email them to me and then I'll answer these questions.
we would definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we will certainly do that. I appreciate that. And you said your email, I typed it out in the chat for anyone who might want to follow up who's here.
Yeah, you have it right. artsims@1124design, DESIGN.com.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. More than what I was even expecting, I think, from this. So that's been incredible. For time's sake, I will end the recording now. And I'll just say thank you first and
Oh, you're welcome.
clap it up.
Thank you, Tennessee State University. My first HBCU. Hope to do a lot more. Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to